effect on thyroid disease for women and things like that. One thing they found, that women who are on birth control have a depletion of antioxidants. 20% of the women who deal with birth control have a depletion of antioxidants. So one of the things you want to do, one of the main antioxidants it pulls from is coenzyme Q10. Okay? Birth control has a negative impact on coenzyme Q10. Now you're going to say, Abdul, what the heck is coenzyme Q10? You probably heard of it, CoQ10, ubiquinol, things like that. CoQ10 is an antioxidant that's directly involved in mitochondrial function, and it's the number one energy source for the heart. Now, let's go back. We see how we tie everything in. It's the number one energy source for the heart. It's coenzyme Q10. 20% of women who are on birth control have a depletion of antioxidants, and one of the main ones that go is coenzyme Q10. What are some of the side effects of birth control? Stroke, high blood pressure, blood clotting. That's all cardiovascular. What's the number one antioxidant for the heart? Coenzyme Q10. You see how that is tied into each other? So if you're going to be on birth control, take coenzyme Q10. Take vitamin E, vitamin C. Take selenium. Take magnesium. Take alpha lipoic acid. They found that women who are on these birth control, the synthetic hormones, it affects their antioxidant levels, and the main one is coenzyme Q10. Make sure you take coenzyme Q10. Okay? The thinning out of the uterus lining. Now, you may say, it's not such a big thing. I'm thinning out. I don't want the egg to be able to implant. Women over 5 years who've been on birth control over 5 years, it makes it harder for them to become pregnant. Because you have thinned out the uterine lining, and it takes time for that uterine lining to get back to normal. So it becomes harder to get pregnant. Alright? It gets harder to get pregnant. If you change the uterine lining for long periods of time, it makes it harder to get pregnant. So birth control over long periods of time doesn't happen to everyone, but over the long periods of time, it can make it much more difficult to get pregnant. So you start to deal with more infertility problems. You've already depleted you reduce your antioxidant or your antioxidant levels in your bloodstream and in your cells. And antioxidants prevent oxidative stress and oxidative damage. If you are reducing your protective mechanism, such as your antioxidants, because oxidative stress is damaging. Oxidative stress literally damages the cells. And if you're reducing that, and you're also thinning out the uterine lining, it makes it harder for your eggs to hold on and be able, like the uterine lining is almost like, think of you putting seeds inside of a very fertile soil. You know, women are very fertile from let's say your prime years, let's say from like 18 to like 34, 30, really it's 18 to 30, that's your prime years. But we say up to 34. Well, if you have already changed the lining in your prime years, you're taking, you're taking some of that black dirt off the top layer of your soil. That is some of the prime soil. You have changed it. You put a little more brown dirt on there, but it ain't the black soil. You still got some black soil underneath there, but it ain't the same. It's harder for that plant to grab hold and to be able to fertilize. The same thing that happens with your uterine lining. For years of changing your uterine lining and thinning it out, it makes it more difficult for your body to hold on to the baby. It makes it more difficult for the egg to actually be fertilized and to actually grab hold. If you understand what I'm saying, I'm trying to use some analogies. So, thinning of the uterine lining, that's another thing that happens. Okay, so those are some of the complications that come with birth control. And also, birth control actually makes it harder for you to lose weight, and we know how weight affects you as far as when it comes down to getting pregnant. It actually affects you. Now, and you say, why does it make you lose weight? Hold on to weight. You already know it makes you hold on to more water. It can increase your appetite, but it raises your cortisol level. it raises your cortisol level. Now, what is cortisol? Cortisol is the stress hormone. Cortisol is the stress hormone that our body goes through. It makes you go into fight or flight. When you are going into, you have adrenaline pumping and all that, your body also creates cortisol. It comes from the adrenals too. Cortisol is the stress hormone. When you under stress, your body creates cortisol. Birth control makes your body create more cortisol. Cortisol makes your body hold on to fat. Okay? So cortisol levels, increased cortisol levels, make you hold on to fat. So being on birth control for long periods of time can help you, will make you gain a little more weight from three things: from making you increase your appetite sometimes, by making you retain more water, and increasing your cortisol level, making it harder for your body to burn fat. Okay? So those